And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. We've got lots of things going on today, including large flares, which you'll see coming from sunspot 3176. DAG. Also, coronal mass ejections. Are they earthly directed? They're earthly directed. We'll let you know later in the video. We'll go all the way around the horn. We'll show you those flares in their close-up glory. Here's the southwestern limb. You can see some coronal mass ejection activity happening down there. How about the southeastern limb? Looks like some activity rising there in the southeast. Also some prominences around both solar polar regions. Check out the massive filament up here by the north solar polar region. So that and lots more coming at you from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. We decided to broadcast today from the Galactic Core. We don't believe in going to New York to watch the ball drop. No, thank you. By the way, congratulations on realizing the channel exists and welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Please visit the links below the video if you haven't yet done so. Thanks to all of our supporters, our friends and foes who view the content. Please press like, subscribe, share, etc. And if you're unable to help us out by becoming a member of the Smash team at the gold or silver level, perhaps help us out with clicks by clicking on our links. You can find them below the video and on the homepage at smashobash.com. If you check out the merch link on the homepage or in the links below the video, you'll find our products in order of best selling. Now today I'm wearing one of the products. However, the featured product is different. So today's featured product is our best seller, Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera. I'm wearing the Tony Fauci, fraudster, face of evil shirt. There are the Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera products. You can get it on shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. There's a dress, there's a mini skirt, there's leggings, there's socks. Perhaps the tote bag is in your future. Whatever you do, do not pole vault the Caldera, folks. No matter how bad things seem, they can get worse. But if you are going through hell, keep going. And do not pole vault the Caldera. Speaking of caldera, let's see what volcanoes are erupting. Chivaluch is exploding, producing a 13,000-foot ash plume. Merapi is extruding some new real estate. Also some glowing rock falls occurring there at Merapi on central Java. Kilauea reporting some inflation, although it looks like things are slowing down on the Big Isle of Hawaii. Fuego in Guatemala exploding, flight level 140. Sangay in Ecuador exploding, flight level 200. Revenador exploding, flight level 150. That's a 15,000-foot ash plume over Ecuador, and not sure if Sabancaya is erupting or not. Satellites are unable to detect it. Probably a cloudy day in Peru. Seismically speaking, most of the activity has been around the eastern Pacific. There's your 90-day bar graph. No major quakes over the past 24 hours. There was a 5.1 near the Southern Ocean there south of Africa. There was a 5.2 at Peru. If we miss anything, drop us a comment and let us know. Also a 5.0 there south of Africa, a 5.0 at Chile. And let's get back to space. Now, by the way, we look at different wavelengths, and I just wanted to look up a thing this morning to look up the different UV wavelengths and so on from SDO. So if you want to read about those, check out the Sun Primer, why NASA scientists observe the sun in different wavelengths. It tells you about the temperatures and the wavelengths and what they're good at and so on. I'll briefly scroll that article. If you want to pause the video, feel free. That's the beauty of video on demand. That's what goes on with the different wavelengths. And let's move on to some more solar imagery. So there's the last 24 hours in SDO ionized helium. And indeed, there is an Earth-directed coronal mass ejection. We'll talk about the details of that later in the video. First, the 10.7 centimeter radial flux now at 162 solar flux units. There is the 1-year chart of the radial flux. It's the black line. The red line down here is the sunspot number. Notice how proportional those indeed are. Now, NOAA's not forecasting any geomagnetic storm or geomagnetic unrest conditions. However, we do have a heightened solar wind speed. We've got a coronal hole high-speed wind stream here, pushing 600 kilometers per second, a little bit higher than I forecasted yesterday. We'll get to the solar wind here in a minute. First, the planetary K-index, a measurement of global geomagnetism, is at 2. KP2 is the current geomagnetically calm condition. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from space for the past 4 hours. We're hoping it's the last 4 hours. And indeed it is. I'm going to let that play through again. Was there missing? Oh, there was 3 hours of missing data there, folks. So that wasn't a sudden undulation. That was a bunch of data not in the feed. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground, and I suspect you're going to see the same thing here. Indeed, a 3-hour data loss there. So some missing data on the geospace magnetosphere movie and the ground magnetic perturbations maps. That's the data that we've got. And let's take a look at the real-time solar wind next. We've just had an uptick here in the solar wind, now over 600 kilometers per second at 602 solar wind density, very diffuse there. Less than 2 protons per cubic centimeter. Besides that, the field is looking pretty weak. And let's continue on to some more magnetic data. There are your GOES magnetometers. And next we'll look at the top view ecliptic plane field plot. So this will show you the polarity of the heliospheric current sheet. And Earth remains in a South Pole current sheet. That North Pole current sheet there monkeying around to our east. You see that North Pole current sheet kind of popping up over there. Let us know in the comments if you think it means we're going to see some sunspots in the southern hemisphere. I believe we are. I think there is an active region rising in the southeast, but here's our line of sight field plot. And it's time to move to coronal holes. Coronal holes are super important as they show us the solar polar field reversal process of a solar cycle, which is perhaps even more important than sunspots. In any case, we got a long way to go to solar max, folks. A long way to go. At solar max, you can expect the solar equator to be dominated by coronal holes of both polarities. At the moment, the North solar polar fields are still more located around the north, and the same with the south. You can see all this red coronal hole down here. That's South Pole orientation. Again, a long way to go to solar max. So here's the view from SDO, 211 angstroms. You can see some of that plasma blasting out here. It often looks a little bit illusory if it's sort of headed directly at the SDO, and part of that component indeed is. We'll get to it here in a moment, as well as sunspots. First, take a moment to check the products in our description. You can save some cash on Hemp Lucid. I think there's still a 40% sale going on. You can certainly save some cash by using the promo code SMASHOMASH10 or by shopping through our link. Shop by solution. Check out the CBD gummies and edibles. The Delta 8s are great. You can also find CBDs for your pets, body balms, lip balm, and lots more. The most popular is the water-soluble CBD tincture. Again, check it out. Help us out that way if you are unwilling to become a member of the Smash team. And don't forget to press like, subscribe, share, etc. Check our playlists. There are all kinds of videos besides space weather and meteorology videos on the channel. So scope those out if you haven't. Thanks to everybody who's tolerated the pathetic, putrid, and disgusting censorship on big tech platforms for the past 6+ years. As we bring you the most detailed space weather and imagery of the sun you'll find anywhere. Also, you can find links below the video and on the homepage at smashomash.com to SureMed, which is not insurance. It's a membership with the American Better Health Organization. I typically only deal with insurance regarding Medicare. However, if you don't have Medicare and you're looking for some benefits like doctors by phone, virtual veterinarians, counselors by phone, discounts on dental, vision, pharmacy, etc. I'll become your agent of record under SureMed. Again, it's not insurance. It's an association membership with the American Better Health Organization. It does allow you to purchase some insurance products via your group membership. So drop me a line there. Improve your health with an American Better Health Organization membership, DBA SureMed. So next, looking at sunspots, and the big performer has been Sunspot 3176. You will be impressed by the imagery of that. Let's take a look at sunspots here in their full animated glory. Mostly stable here over the past 24, no major changes. So here is your SDO continuum. And that is the last 24 hours. Our Helio Viewer videos typically are 24-hour videos because it is the daily space weather. We're also going to add 304 angstroms so you can see all of the activity kicking off. It is mainly sunspot 3176, right in the top center of your frame there. And let's also zoom out to show the full disk view before we get to energetic particles and solar flares. So next on the docket is the GOES proton flux, which is flatlined here. Still no spikes in the proton flux. We haven't seen a proton event for a very lengthy period of time, despite quite a bit of flaring. So there is your solar flare profile over the past 3 days. Multiple M-class intensifications there. And let's take a look at it from SDO. Now, of course, this sunspot looked pretty promising. However, it turned out to be 3176. This one right here. That was the one that produced all the fireworks. So some rapid, impulsive M-class flares there. And let's get a little closer. And that is what you call the money shot. We'll get even closer in this wavelength, which is 94 angstroms, by the way. That is ionized iron. And this wavelength is good at showing the upper corona portion of solar flares. 131 angstroms is also ionized iron. It shows us the hottest portion of solar flares. Good stuff there. Yowzers. Now we're always interested in what's going on overhead, and the sun has just risen here over Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. That is our scar chart. That is our scarshite. That is our sky chart. That's what's going on overhead Lehigh Valley. By the way, that is the all-sky chart from in-the-sky.org. If you want to make your own, put in your zip code, town, etc. You can see what's going on over your head as well. And let's do a solar system forecast next before we get to things like coronal mass ejections. There's one headed this way. Here's your 1 week forecast. That's where things will be on January 7th as Earth moves around to the lonely side of the sun where there are no gas giants. So next, looking at coronal mass ejections here using coronagraphs. That is, I should be looking at yesterday. I'm sorry. There's yesterday's imagery. We've got some oddities in the coronagraphs that we will get to here in a minute. There's missing data as well as a apparent roll maneuver of the SOHO spacecraft. Anyway, that's yesterday. That is when the coronal mass ejection actually propagated. There's today, and let's take a look at some more imagery here from Stereo A and SOHO LASCO C3. So we paused this here at 1509 on Stereo A and 1506 on the SOHO LASCO C3. And I just want you to watch. This is the aperture that holds out the obscurement disk from the spacecraft. And let me just press play on this. You're going to see this roll to the other side. Did you see that? It's on this side. And now it's up in the upper right. So apparently the spacecraft rolled there, which is suboptimal because it's giving us a completely distorted view now. So I'm not sure what I'm looking at, frankly. But if you look at stereo A, you're going to see a CME coming out. And part of this CME, this little diffuse portion. All right, give me my Epic pen before I snap and start. I'm going to hurl this computer through a window, I think. Oh my gosh. All right, so this portion of the CME right here, you can see a little diffuse bubble there. A portion of that is earthly directed. So we are seeing CMEs on the far side of the sun also, but I'm pretty sure that portion is headed toward Earth. We can expect to see a minor impact, maybe a KP5 event, KP4 or 5 event there, mid to late day on January 3rd. That's about the best estimation I can make from the data that I have. And here are some 24-hour videos of some composites. Again, if you think the Soho Lasco C3 looks weird, notice the aperture changing from the lower left to the upper right. Once again, there is the full zoom out. So not only missing data, but also an apparent roll maneuver there. Suboptimal, but hey, these things are in space after all. And thanks to all you viewers for being spaced out. So next, looking at filaments, likelihood of additional coronal mass ejections remains very high. We've got huge filaments and lots of them on the earthly portion of the solar disk once again. And we're not going to play name that filament at all today because I just don't care. Nobody sees the tweets anyway because of the pathetic, disgusting, and putrid censorship on Twitter. So go follow us on Twitter. Maybe we'll get to 344 followers or something like that. By the way, that's the ground-based solar observatory at Cerro Tololo, Chile. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. It will recommend that you follow Elon Musk every day. You'll see his tweets, whether you follow him or not. Will anybody see yours? Well, probably. It depends. I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll be promoted if you're already a rich, famous celebrity parroting boring, stale ideas. But chances are your posts probably won't be seen. Check out this one. I had a 14-hour post yesterday talking about our businesses, and guess what? It was viewed by 0. It was seen by 0 accounts over 14 hours, despite having 342 followers, allegedly. Next, moving to the Go 16 SUVi to show the last about 2.5 hours. Must be 3 hours. Anyway, that's what's going on most recently here. Some ejecta splashing back down toward the chromosphere. And here's the last 24 hours in our house favorite wavelength. And let's add ionized carbon to make the golden delicious gold even more golden delicious. There you go. There's ionized carbon plus ionized iron. That's 1600 angstroms plus 171. And that brings us to bonus features. We start our bonus features out with satellite charging hazards. We've got some minor ones here over the Central Pacific Ocean. Besides that, smooth sailing for satellites. There goes electron flux there. Toying with warning levels once again. That's the last 3 days as the GOES 16 and GOES 17 make their radiographic measurements. There is the NOAA forecast, expecting a slight downtick. There's the 1-year graph to put that in context. And let's take a look at the F-layer, which is rife with new anomalies. The F-layer of the ionosphere is where the GOES 16 and GOES 17 measure the electron flux. It's located right here. It's one slice of the atmosphere. It's sliced at about 300 kilometers of altitude. So here's the vibrational frequency. That is in megahertz, millions of vibrations per second. And the South Atlantic anomaly has moved into the South Pacific. It used to be in the South Atlantic, then it was over South America, and now it's in the South Pacific. It may not be obvious in this imagery, but that's where it is. Also, the South African anomaly has moved north a bit, so I find that pretty interesting. And as far as I know, we're the only channel reporting on it anywhere in the world. Are you surprised barely anybody knows about it? Could it be because of pathetic, putrid, and disgusting censorship on the internet? Could that be why? As if it's not big news that Earth's ionosphere has shifted thousands of miles. You would think people would be on this subject, but they aren't. Because the people who ought to be talking about it are probably on vacation, or they're just hackily not doing their own jobs. But in any case, there's the facts. That's the anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median, and it's super obvious that the South Atlantic anomaly is about here now instead of here. Also, the South African anomaly is now farther north on the African continent, and it should be very obvious to our regular viewers there by viewing the anomalygram. Them's the facts. Here's the latest image. That's 1300 universal time ionogram, and there's 1300 universal time anomalygram. A great example right there. Clearly, that is where the South Atlantic anomaly is now located, in the South Pacific. Next, looking at the total electron content, it's the free electrons between your GPS satellite and your handset, and it'll show you GPS error locations most likely. Let's refresh the total electron content still map. Here's the current situation, and here is the animation. So we have very wide spread out blobs here of large GPS errors as summer commences in the southern hemisphere. Significant GPS errors there over North America continue. Turn on your Wi-Fi accuracy for your navigation program. It might greatly improve your precision. We're not going to show those images because they're ancient. We're going to move straight on to the realm of meteorology. So once again, thanks for tuning into the Smash News Network Least Busted Name in News. Do you think we should copyright that? You know, the Smash News Network Least Busted Name in News. Let us know what you think in the comments. I think it might be a smart idea. And if you're wondering if it's a poke at CNN, it absolutely is a poke at CNN. CNN, the least trusted name in news. We are the least busted name in news. So here's what's going on at the moment. We are showing you the coldest portion of planet Earth. It's negative 73 degrees Fahrenheit on Greenland, much colder than Antarctica, where of course it is now summer. I suppose people will be freaking out that the Antarctican ice sheet is melting. Keep in mind, the Antarctican ice sheet did form 33 million years ago when the planet was 3 degrees Celsius warmer than it is today. Anyway, that's our temperature map from nullschool.net. Just showing you global temperatures here. By far the coldest place in the world is Greenland. It's no contest. It's not even close. Anyway, that's what's going on in terms of temperature. Let's look at wind. Powerful low pressure here over northwestern Australia. Also some strong winds here around Indonesia and the Philippines. All right, here are the jet streams of the east. Here are the jet streams of the west. Some huge equatorial bends here, as well as a large anticyclone. Check it out. It's an upper-level high-pressure system here over South America, as we've got this counterclockwise rotation indicating high pressure in the southern hemisphere. These are the surface winds of the west. Surface winds of the central world. And your jet streams. If you enjoy the content and you prefer to see it remain publicly visible and free for all to view, consider becoming a member of the Smash Team at smashomash.com/SmashTeam. The best value is the annual gold paid-up subscription. It includes complimentary merch. It's like getting 4 months free. And if you log in at smashamash.com/smashteam, if you're gold or silver or in some cases even bronze level memberships, you'll see additional posts. If you're sick of not seeing our content on YouTube, save our posts page. Go to posts and save that page as a favorite. Put it on your desktop. It'll act just like an app. It'll redirect you to our latest posts, and if you're logged in, you'll see the posts that are available to people at your login level. Smashamash.com/smashteam. Today broadcasting from the galactic core. Seriously, that is what's actually going on at the galactic core. Like, I'm not kidding. When I say the Earth is croissant-shaped, I'm kind of kidding, but anyway. Smashamash.com/smashteam. We are still on Patreon. Also, support the channel if you are willing and able to open your cobweb-encrusted wallet. Here's what's going on over the Americas in terms of clouds and fog. It's the 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation satellite, part of the NASA GOES Satellite Interactive Suite. And let's do some more meteorology. Things like your New Year's Eve forecast. So here's your weather.gov map. We've got a bunch of winter storm warnings there, and especially Wyoming, Colorado, Utah. There's your scroll down to show you the key if your county or waterway are lit. Click your county. If you've got videos of big waves in Hawaii, drop us a line. We'll share it on the channel. Links to the Instagram and Twitter account, both on the homepage at smashamash.com as well as below this video. And let's continue on. We don't want it to be too long. Here is your snow forecast. That's accumulated positive snow depth change in inches for the next 72 hours based on the GFS model, as we expect about 4 additional feet of snow to fall in portions of California. Also, heavy snows that are expected in Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Wyoming, Idaho. Significant snow also in Washington, Montana, and Oregon. Here's your 72-hour pressure and precipitation forecast based on the same GFS model. Some ice coming to South Dakota and Minnesota. Also a little bit for northern Wisconsin. So that's the scenario for pressure and precipitation for the next 72 hours, that is. Here's your temperature anomaly forecast for the next 72 hours and some extremely warm temperatures coming east of the Mississippi and around the Mississippi Valley. Large portions of the country, they're expecting over 20 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures there for this time of year. Starting out the year 2023 with some nice, warm, balmy temperatures in the east. However, if you're in the northern Rockies, you can expect the opposite. Anomalously cold temperatures pushing 20 degrees Celsius below normal in places like most of Idaho. 72-hour GFS temperature anomaly forecast in degrees Celsius is what you're looking at. Next, we're going to do windy.com. We're going to slowly advance this so that you can see your New Year's Eve forecast, as there is some precipitation in the eastern portion of the country. Well, there's where we expect things to be at midnight. We'll let this advance to about 72 hours. By the way, this is the European forecast model. Looks like some heavy moisture once again approaching the west coast. All right, so that's where things will be at Tuesday, 11 o'clock a.m., according to the European model. Next, looking at lightning, and there was a hell of a lightning storm here, moving from Texas across Louisiana, Mississippi, into Alabama. We've currently got some strong cells in the Gulf, I believe. Let's see what's going on at the moment. Give it a minute to load here. That's lightningmaps.org. This video was originally streamed live, by the way, to twitch.tv/smashomash. So indeed there are some active cells there in the Gulf, off of the coast of Tampa. We'll zoom out to show the full world map. Next, U.S. Doppler radar. We'll focus on the lower 48. It's where the action is currently occurring. How about clouds and fog? How about, oh my God, the galactic core. It's the galactic core, folks. Are you scared? Are you spooked? Oh, no. The galaxy, folks. The galaxy. It's very scary. There is shortwave radiation showing clouds and fog. And there is water vapor. Hopefully that clears things up. By the way, thanks for tuning in to the Smash News Network, least busted name of news. This is your recap. It's U.S. Doppler radar showing vertical motion of water droplets and indeed ice crystals. Here is 3.9 nanometer infrared radiation showing clouds and fog. And that is where we will close out our space weather and meteorology videos for the year 2022, most likely. So once again, thanks for tuning into the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-O-Mash, signing off. And may that solar wind be at your back. Facts stated in this video not necessarily suppressed by criminal organizations operating big tech websites. Opinions expressed in this video not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Happy New Year.